Okay, I'm just going to talk about the Family Violence Roundtable, which Stu has explained about how that links in. I'm very conscious that I'm here on behalf of everyone who is part of the roundtable, so that's 12 agencies. So any of you who are here, which I know you are, you can all chip in, because it's certainly not just a police thing. The roundtable arose out of the Applin report from 2003, and I don't know if any of you remember that, where two little girls, Salil and Olympia, were killed by their stepdad, Bruce House. What they discovered in the Family Violence Death Review that we now have routinely with every single family violence death, unfortunately, because we need to, was that there were three big buckets of information available about that family. Child, Youth and Family had a big bucket of information, the police had a big bucket of information, and the school system also had a big bucket of information. And those buckets were, I guess, never poured on a table and shared so that the workers could operate in a coordinated way to ensure safety for that family. It really changed policy around all the government departments and an awareness amongst refuges and all the other NGOs as well, that we needed to work much more collaboratively and give up on our old boundaries, I guess, and work together to ensure the safety of the family. So the roundtable who sits here, we have Child, Youth and Family, Probation, the DHB come in with two hats, the Mental Health and the Child and Family Safety Service, all 5 refuges in Christchurch, Hei Wakatapu, and Stop and Violence Services, us, the Family Safety Team, and Victim Support. So we all attend every week. So in terms of the table representation, it is a senior practitioner from each agency comes along. It's very task and case focused. It's not a chat fest in any way. We are absolutely on it in terms of what we're doing. The criteria are referral from a partner agency, so that can be absolutely any social service agency, and we have a form, but we stick it to one page, and that's just so that we're, I guess, kind of guiding people about what to think about before sending us a referral, and telling us exactly what you really want. What do you want us to do? As Stu explained, we also use our ODARA score. It's an actuarial risk assessment. It's pretty accurate. It's now been tested in New Zealand for a year, and it's found to be quite predictive of reassault within the family. So we're trusting that, and anything of 7+ automatically goes on the table. Again, high risk and high volume aren't the same thing with family violence, and as Stu alluded to, we've got families who have rung us over 100 times. We go there a lot. That doesn't necessarily mean high risk, and yet others where we don't hear from someone until there's been something incredibly serious happen, and then we realise the whole family are at risk and they definitely need a coordinated approach. Sometimes there's just features of the most recent event that give us real cause for concern. Strangulation is definitely one, and that's information that's arisen out of family violence death reviews. I'm just going to have to say this, but even if the person doesn't eventually die by strangulation, most often when you go back through previous events in history and social service notes, there's an incident of strangulation reported somewhere along the way. So it's highly predictive of going on to homicide. So I guess for all of us that's a real reminder, and if we see that, people often refer to the table just for that reason, and it's a really good one. Other serious factors like the partner threatening to burn the house down, particularly if he has a previous conviction for arson, and threats to kill his children, himself and his partner. We've had several like that recently where that's been a real threat from Dad, unfortunately. When we get to the table, we sit down and talk about basically a summary of all the information. Why has this family ended up on the table? I just really want to emphasise that this isn't about the victim, the offender or the children. We always take a coordinated approach. It's not fragmented. We're looking after everybody in the family because that's the only way we think that we can ensure safety. We summarise around the table everyone who's got information about that family, and we kind of talk about what are the gaps, what's missing here, and come up with some coordinated plans. So again, that might be that the refuge says, well, we're seeing her every week, we're going to do a DV group with her. Probation suggests something like we think about, could we do non-association or non-reside together, or that just put them underground, which we don't want either. We're obviously going to continue with any prosecution that we're going to do, and we're going to shore that up and support the victim in terms of her attending court, who's going to help her with that, who's going to sit beside her, simple stuff like that. With the children, they might need to do some programs, and we've got a coordinated safety strategy for the whole family, which, as Stu said again, we've got a whole toolbox of things that we can do. But the most important thing is that we're all working together. So that may include, for instance, that the mental health worker knows that there are bail conditions and that he's not allowed to see her. We have all that written down, and then we do a risk reassessment and we task it out really specifically. So it's very clear what responsibility everybody has and what they're doing. Am I missing anything? We then check basically and do a review that all the agencies are doing everything that they said they would. Obviously any further violence precipitates the family coming back to the table. We will discuss it again. We try and work out if the family can be worked with the family violence team, that's Stu and Mike and all their staff, and police. Do we need other services? Or if it's really serious and there's no engagement that's mitigating risk, then the family safety team will need to be involved if their criteria are met. So in that case we would amalgamate every piece of information we have and give it to the family safety team, and that's where we're looking a bit more widely at that point. The family safety team will possibly involve the school and a safety plan for the children and other agencies who are not necessarily family violence focused but who could be really involved in the safety planning. How we think it works. Basically it holds us all accountable, but more than that, the most fabulous thing about it all is that we problem solve together. So no agency is left holding the responsibility. No one worker is feeling like I'm doing this all by myself, that nobody knows about it. We are all working together. We share, so we're sharing risk, but we're also sharing solution finding. So often people who don't have that family on their books may in fact come up with the best suggestions at the meeting about have you thought? In that way we're sharing really good information and ideas to enhance safety. One of the loveliest things about the whole process is I think it's brought us all closer together, and as agencies we've worked out, strangely enough, that we all want the same thing. We all want our families to be safer, and we've built up great relationships of trust, and that we feel that we can talk to each other about things, and we know that that information isn't going to go anywhere else, but that we all have the same focus and goal. It avoids duplication, and both duplication and falling through the cracks, so we don't have two agencies accidentally doing things that are working against each other or really the same thing when we could be doing it elsewhere. And also people don't fall through a hole where everyone assumes that someone else is doing that work because someone else probably isn't. One of the best things as well about the process has been that we've identified some gaps and common themes that I guess the only way you can do that is by doing what we do every week, by talking about families. And I would like just to share one of them, which is particularly around alcohol use. We have a lot of women particularly whose alcohol use is really, really serious. They are often assaulted, they are often drunk when they've been assaulted. They wake up in the morning with two black eyes. It is probably their partner who's done it, but they are locked into some sort of codependent relationship with him where they want to stay there. They have no intention of going. They may have either lost their children already because they haven't had a safe family, or their children may have grown up and gone, and their motivation for change is hugely missing, really. We also can't put them in a safe house, a refuge safe house, because they're not safe to be with the other women and little children. So that's one of the gaps that we come up against. So anyone who has money for a facility, please tell me later. But those are the sort of things that we identify that as a common problem that we're all grappling with. So I think in that way we're a really good resource. Any information or anything that you would like about it is fine to email me, and or our email inbox, which I should have put on here as well, which is fv.christchurchcentral, so F for Freddie, V for Valentine, .christchurchcentral is one big long word, at police.gov.nz, and I can send you back more information like referral forms if you want one, although honestly we're happy to have it how it comes, as long as we get enough information. And just anyone who's interested in the process or has a family that you'd like to talk about. Thank you. Any questions?